Hello and welcome to my first proper YouTube video. I thought I'd kick off with something nice and easy just to get the ball rolling. So I'm going to give you a brief rundown of my first time watches through January 2026. We've got movies going back 75 years up to stuff as recently as 2025. So let's just get going. At the start of each year, I try and watch kind of a wild card option. Starting in 2023, that was Mad God, then Beau is Afraid, Love Lies Bleeding, and this year I went with The City of Lost Children from 1995, directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet and Marc Caro. Either of those could have been mispronounced. Jean-Pierre Jeunet is also the director of Amélie and Alien Resurrection. And The City of Lost Children can probably best be described as a surrealist cyberpunk, the other one, steampunk. And The City of Lost Children can probably be best described as a surrealist steampunk fairy tale. It's a very unique movie. Not so sure it's for me, but give it a shot if you want to try something a little bit different. Next up was 2011's We Need to Talk About Kevin, directed by Lynne Ramsay, and starring Ezra Miller, Tilda Swinton, and John C. McGinley.
Wrong, 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 wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong.
That's the wrong guy. That's John C. Reilly. Shit. This was probably my favorite from this list of movies here. It's not a cheery movie, but it definitely shows how strong a performer Ezra Miller really is. And Lynne Ramsay is going to be re-teaming with Ezra on another project soon, so we'll see how that turns out. It's a bit of a slow burn, but worth it in the end. Next is 1988's Brain Damage, directed by Frank Henenlotter, and if you know the Basket Case trilogy, it's the same guy. This movie is just batshit insane from the start. It's a little bit like Basket Case, just with a lot more acid, or LSD, or whatever the hell gets you going. Might be a little bit of a stretch to say that I enjoyed this one, but it's an experience, and if you like body horror, especially from the 80s, this could be right up your street. Then next up, there's 1974's Dark Star, directed by John Carpenter, but also co-written by and starring Dan O'Bannon, who went on to write a little film a couple years later called Alien. You can definitely see the seeds of Alien in there, although this is a lot wackier, kind of trippy. The tagline does say, bombed out in space with a spaced-out bomb, so, there's that. It's interesting to see where these guys came from. The movie is very, very low budget, and the Alien has a unique look to it. Let's put it that way. Then there's the 1981 werewolf movie that isn't an American Werewolf in London, and that is The Howling, directed by Joe Dante. Most people seem to either be in the camp of The Howling or American Werewolf. I'm an American Werewolf guy, but it was good to finally check out The Howling. It did take a little while to finally get to the werewolf action, and it has the longest transformation scene. She could have just run away. But this was good to finally check out. Always like a good Joe Dante movie, and more movies need Dee Wallace. Then in 1985, we got The Howling 2, Your Sister is a Werewolf, or Howling 2, Stirb a Werewolf Bitch, whatever. Holy shit, this movie is ridiculous. Directed by Philippe Mora. The legends were true. This movie is absolutely ridiculous. It's not good, but I enjoyed it. That's the takeaway here. Christopher Lee's incredible in this. The story is ridiculous. The effects aren't very good. The story is not very good. The end credits are great. I'm not too sure what compelled me to press play on 2004's Anaconda's The Hunt for the Blood Orchid, directed by Dwight H. Little, but I kind of don't regret doing it either. I remember seeing this trailer a lot back when this was new, and it was fun to kind of get that nostalgic hit, finally seeing all those scenes in context. This is pretty run-of-the-mill early 2000s creature feature with naff CGI and kind of stock characters, but you could do a lot worse, and it's probably the best Anaconda sequel so far. And next, I am a sucker for shark movies. I've seen a lot of bad ones, and I've seen the one or two good ones, but 2025's Beast of War isn't too bad. I kind of enjoyed this. Directed by, and I'm probably going to mispronounce this, Kaya Roach Turner. This is kind of like a small-scale retelling of the USS Indianapolis with just a handful of people and a practical shark for once, which is always nice to see. I picked this up on Blu-ray just to give it a shot, and then it went up in streaming a week later, which is always the way. If you appreciate a well-done shark movie, if you like war movies, and if you appreciate small budget, kind of boots on the ground filmmaking, this could be right up your street. Check it out. Next is the 2022 original version of Speak No Evil, directed by Christian Tafdrup. Again, if I mispronounced that, I am sorry. I wanted to check this out because I'd heard quite a lot about the ending. I'm not going to give anything away. Yeah, if you want to feel happy about life, you maybe don't pick this movie. Definitely a slow burn, very tense, very claustrophobic. The kind of movie that keeps making you go, why don't you just leave, run away, get in the car, get the fuck out. The most recent movie on this list that I checked out was Novocaine, coming out in 2025, directed by Dan Burke and Robert Olson. You've got Jack Quaid in here in an action comedy. Basically, he can't feel pain and he's gonna have to dish out a lot of it. This is a good time. I enjoyed this one. Then I checked out the 2024 remake of Speak No Evil, directed by James Watkins and starring James McAvoy. I actually saw the trailer for this. It was the first time I came across this movie, and I decided to go back and check out the original, mainly because I'd heard they both have very different endings, and I can confirm they do have very different endings. I probably prefer the remake, but both are definitely worth checking out, and maybe if you've seen them both, jump in the comments and let me know which one you prefer. There's no wrong answer. On my never-ending quest to consume all of the 80s sci-fi and horror offerings, I landed on The Last Starfighter from 1984, directed by Nick Castle, who is, of course, the original Michael Myers. This also stars a Lance Guest, who may or may not be responsible for the name of this channel. This was fun. I have a feeling I would have loved this if I saw it when I was younger, but watching it now, it did feel a little bit cheap, maybe a little derivative of, obviously, Star Wars and so many others. You could do worse. They were clearly intending to make more of these. There's a couple things left hanging. There was never anything else. This is a one and done. Now on to what's probably my hottest hot take of this list, but I watched The Exorcist Believer from 2023, directed by David Gordon Green. On the subject of Halloween there, I pretty much hated his Halloween trilogy reboot, whatever that was.
Evil dies tonight!
Fuck off. And I've only ever seen the original Exorcist, although I do own part 3. I'm going to check that out. So this is the first Exorcist sequel I ever watched, and I'd heard nothing but bad things. I thought this was going to be a complete train wreck. I just watched it because Netflix was going to get rid of it soon. And maybe because I'd heard nothing but bad things, I actually kind of enjoyed this one, question mark. I don't think I would necessarily watch it again, but I didn't mind it. I didn't dislike it. I thought it was okay. Completely unnecessary, but okay. And I don't know what they were thinking about trying to make this a sort of a trilogy. Thankfully, it's not really open-ended. It just kind of... So it's another one and done. It's all right. It's not that bad. Then it's 1977's the original The Hills Have Eyes, directed by Wes Craven. Finally got myself around to this one. I've seen the remake. I've always enjoyed the 2006 remake, and I've unfortunately seen its sequel. But it was finally time to get back to this one. If, like me, you're more used to the remake, this is essentially the exact same film, just a little bit tamer. But it does have Dee Wallace. So like I said, more movies should have Dee Wallace. It was cool going back earlier in Wes Craven's career. There's a lot more of his movies I really need to check out. Unfortunately, though, I did check one out right after this, because next it's The Hills Have Eyes Part 2 from 1984, directed by Wes Craven. It's not controversial to say this movie's a disaster. Craven himself disowned it. Again, the legends were true, just like The Howling 2. If you know anything about this movie, you know, yep, the dog has a flashback. And so does everyone else, because the first half of this movie is pretty much just flashbacks to the original. We have some kind of pointless returning characters. Michael Berryman's character returns, despite, spoiler, he definitely dies in the first one. But that's the power of re-editing a flashback. Despite the borderline legendary reputation this film has, its biggest problem is just that it's boring. How long is this thing? It's not a long movie, but it drags. It's just people walking around, and then eventually, in the last 10 minutes, some of them die. Pretty stupidly sometimes too. Is it worse than the remake sequel though? I'm not actually too sure. Then 5 years later, we have 1989's Killer Crocodile, directed by Fabrizio De Angelis? I'm definitely pronouncing all these names wrong. This is another one of those, it's Jaws, but now it's a crocodile. Throw in some toxic waste and some pretty bad dubbing, and you've got a strangely entertaining movie. The practical crocodile somehow both looks really good and also like complete shit, but that's part of the fun of watching this movie. And the lead actor is a guy called Richard Anthony Crenna, which, if that sounds familiar, you've probably seen a couple Rambo movies. And then that one was immediately followed up the next year with Killer Crocodile 2, directed by Gianetto De Rossi. I suck at these names. This movie was filmed back to back with the original. It's a bit of a step down. It's still enjoyable. It's mostly just reuses the same footage of the croc. And if you've ever seen the miniature work at the end of Jaws the Revenge, this thing absolutely kicks its ass. It's the best use of miniatures I've ever seen, ever, in my entire life. I'll die on that hill. Also, all the dubbing seemed to be done by different actors this time, so it was kind of jarring to go from one to the next. But hey. And in the same way that 1981 has the two most iconic werewolf movies, 1987 brings us The Vampires with The Lost Boys, which is near and dear to my heart, and Near Dark, which I finally checked out. It should be considered a sin that I haven't seen this till now, considering I have met Lance Henriksen and Jeanette Goldstein and have a signature from both of them and Bill Paxton, who I did not get to meet, unfortunately. And it's directed by Catherine Bigelow, so this is just full of top-tier talent. If I have to pick, I'm still going to go with Lost Boys, but this movie was great. It's kind of a western, vampire western. There's some incredible cinematography. Bill Paxton is a crazy son of a bitch. That's why we love him. And the film just has style. Like this, there's a reason people are kind of caught between this or The Lost Boys. If, like me, you've managed to sleep on this one for decades at this point, get that fixed, check it out. And recently I checked out 1994's Night of the Demons 2, directed by Brian Trenchard Smith. And if you're wondering, have I seen Night of the Demons 1 or 3? The answer is a straight up no, I'm afraid. Not that it seems that relevant. I got what was going on. This movie is trashy, it's silly, it's gory, it's got a bunch of practical effects, a bunch of, I guess, 30-year-olds playing teenagers. It's got a wisecracking nun. It's kind of got it all. But this makes me want to go back and check out the original at least. This was kind of fun. And the last first time watch for the month was also the oldest, 1951's The Thing from Another World, directed by Christian Nyby, or Nibby. I'm not sure how to pronounce that one either. As a lifelong fan of John Carpenter's The Thing, I had to finally check this one out. And this was fun. It was good to go back and see kind of where it all started. It's a lot slower than you might expect, and it's very different to the original. I mean the remake. And let's be honest, it's still a lot better than the 2011 prequel. Watching this actually makes me want to go back and finally read the book, so I'm just going to do this thing almost in reverse order. The effects in the creature obviously look a bit silly for now, but you have to keep it in mind this was 1951, and this was good. This movie was great. John Carpenter's version is, of course, the superior one, but if you've ever wanted to check this thing out, I highly recommend you give it a go. So that's all 20 first-time watches for me through January in 2026, kicking off the year with kind of a mixed bag, but it was fun. Hopefully you found a couple here that you might want to watch. I know this wasn't a review video, wasn't a review series. I just wanted to throw these things out there and see if there's anything that might catch your eye, anything you want to watch. If this list has turned you on to any of these movies and you give them a go, please do let me know in the comments. Let me know if you liked it, disliked it. Thank you for sticking out to the end of the video, and I hope to catch you next time. Cheers!